Hey guys, today's video is another book review as I have a little bit of catching up to do. I'm going to be talking about Exit Pursued by a Bear by E.K. Johnston. Now, I did receive this book for review from Penguin, though all opinions are my own. This is a contemporary young adult novel. It's quite thin actually, and it follows Hermione Winters, who is about to go into her senior year of high school. She's going to be co-captain of the cheerleading team, and this is something she's been looking forward to for a long time. Cheering is her life. It's what gets her up in the morning. It's where all her friends are, and she just absolutely loves being part of this team. And the beginning of every school year, right before school begins, they go to a cheer camp for a bit of time and to sort of train, see the competition, get ready for the new year, and they have a party so all of the cheerleaders can have fun together. And unfortunately for Hermione, she is roofied and raped at this party. As you can imagine, this completely derails all of her plans for her final year of school, and she now has to deal with the reality of the fact that she was raped, and now she has to go back to school. Luckily, she has her parents and her best friend Polly who are able to help her. And this is very important because really at the core of this story, it is about a female friendship between Hermione and Polly, and that's why I was really interested in reading this book. I feel like a lot of times the female friendships can be kind of shaky or they really don't even exist, whereas in this book, it is solid, and I loved that about it. I also love the fact that it took on a difficult topic. YA certainly doesn't shy away from difficult topics, but focusing on being roofied and raped means that this book is going to exist on a deeper level than some YA stories. So when you combine this horrible event that Hermione has to now deal with, plus her friendship with Polly, it was certainly something that intrigued me, and I was really hoping that this would be a good book. Therefore, I had some expectations for it, and I'm really happy to say that it lived up and even past my expectations, really. I'm often disappointed by YA novels these days. Either just they're blah or they're not great at all, and this one actually lived up to what I hoped it would be, and it really surprised me with some of the things that it talked about. It handled the realities of Hermione's rape really well, having to go back to school with all of the cheer team, and of course the whole school ends up knowing what happened to her. That really felt real, and also the interactions that she has with all of the different characters in the book, whether they're on the cheer team or off the cheer team, felt really real. Topics of conversation that I believe would actually occur between teenagers or teenagers and their parents. And also how Hermione just handled the situation. I was really rooting for her. I felt like how she reacted to everything that happened to her was completely realistic, and I wanted things to work out in her favor. I would also like to mention the fact that there is an LGBT romance in this book, which I wasn't expecting at all, so that was really pleasantly surprising. And also the fact that it took place in Ontario, in Canada, which was also pretty sweet. Most of the time, YA books take place in the US, and they reference places and use phrases that are things Americans would say, and I'm used to it because that's where I grew up. But having lived in Canada for a bit now, I have heard about the Canadian high school experience. They use different terms for things, and also just talking about the area in Ontario where they were. It's actually very close to where I am, so they were mentioning certain places, and I was like, hey, I know where that is. So that was cool, just to be able to relate to this book and these characters on a different level. So far I've talked about all the things I enjoyed, and I want to focus a little bit on some of the things I didn't like as much. The writing was not anything special. It was kind of cliche. It's pretty standard young adult fare. I actually remember opening up the book, and on the first page there was a pretty classic YA sentence. Just one of those things that these characters always seem to say when it's told in first person. I was like, uh-oh, this might not be as good as I thought. But luckily those were few and far between, but the writing was not anything special. The other thing I want to mention is that the book is very short, and I actually felt like I wanted a bit more. The story arc was good. I wasn't that bothered by it, but there were certain things I think she could have expanded on, and it certainly wouldn't have made the book a burden to read. With the acknowledgments at the end, it's not even 250 pages, so adding another chapter or two during Hermione's school year I think might have helped flesh out a couple moments. and it wouldn't have ruined the book in any way. When I look at the topics that this book tackled, the friendships, the story arc, how it was told as a whole, I really liked it. And then I have to, of course, take into account that the writing wasn't really that special, and I felt like there should have been a little bit more given to me. I decided to give this a 4 out of 5. It surprised me by how much I liked it, but in this case there was a little room for improvement. There's one other thing that I want to mention. It didn't have any bearing on my rating of the book, but I just thought it was really, really awesome, was underneath the cover of the book, there is this little thing that says, "I love you," and "I know." And normally you would assume that has to do with the main character and their love interest, but in this case it's about our lead characters, about Hermione and Polly. And after reading this book, or I think I was actually in the middle of reading it, but discovering that, it made my heart feel so happy. It's just really wonderful to have two female characters that really care about each other, whose friendship is solid, and they don't desert each other for a guy or over some stupid issue. I just really, really love that aspect of the story. So I would definitely recommend this book if contemporary YA is your thing. If you're looking for a story that tackles a hard topic and focuses on some really wonderful characters, I would pick this book up. If you have read Exit Pursued by a Bear, please let me know your thoughts down below. Did you really enjoy the friendship between Hermione and Polly as much as I did? Because I'm a big fan. As always, all of the links are in the doobly-doo. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you later.